Hi, everyone. Welcome to the product group conversation for December. I'm Josh Lambert, Director of Product for our enablement section. And the enablement section will be your rotating monthly host this week. So feel free to please ask us anything related to enablement, but also, of course, anything related to the product group as a whole, as we'll have most of the team here available today. This is a public live stream, so please indicate if your question should be held privately for a potential stream session later. And we also, on the enablement section, we have recently completed an exercise looking back at what we accomplished and what we're planning to do in FY23. As always, these are plans, and we've included that in the document under point number 2 as well. So we'll open up for questions. As always, feel free to ask any questions, even if you haven't read the doc or the slides. Ask away, and we are here to help answer and have a good conversation today. So with that, thank you, Brad, and we'll kick it over to you if you're able to voice over your question.
Hey, thanks, Josh. Mine's generic, and I've always kind of wondered, this it goes a little back to like how we decide to put where we decide to put features, right? Where there's a North Star metric in product, I think, around monthly active users, right? So are we using those features? And I think there's a natural contradiction between, putting it in Ultimate and having a maybe smaller amount of exposure versus putting it in Core that would have obviously a much larger exposure, right? So you can drive monthly active users a lot faster in Core than you maybe can in Ultimate. And so my question is are we tracking that, and are we kind of taking feature usage times revenue, where you might get, let's call it $19 of credit for a premium feature, but you'd get $100 of credit for that single user in there. Obviously, the dollars don't really matter or add up, but just tracking usage times potential revenue tied to that. So curious on just your perspective on that, and if we have any data.
Yeah, I don't think we are tracking that particular metric. We are tracking paid Gmail and total Gmail, and those are both available as part of our performance indicators. And that can help give you that color of the separation, Brad, but not at the particular tier level, for example.
Paid Gmail just filters out only paying customers, right? So what do people who spend money with us, what features do they use regardless of what tier they land in, right?
That is correct.
Gotcha. Yeah, not exactly what I was thinking of or trying to go for, which is, if we took, I don't know, compliance pipelines, right? Great Ultimate feature, probably low usage right now because it's in Ultimate, but maybe that's, it's worth 5 times a premium license, or potentially, I guess it's not infinity, but maybe 100 times a Core feature.
Yeah. No, I definitely hear your point. I was just trying to give you an indicator of what we do today as far as tracking this by active users. Scott, I also see you writing here as well, if you want to voice over your comments.
Yeah, a few things. I didn't have time to type them all in, but tier decisions are mostly made based on the target buyer, so to speak. So who cares the most about the feature? And so the challenge and opportunity for the product team is to think about the feature in such a way that they can create a stair-stepped tiering experience in the product that maps to that. So what's interesting here that might appeal to an individual, where we can drive a lot of broad usage, but not harm our ability to drive up tiering. So what about that feature might be interesting to a director and a leader of a team, and what might be interesting to an executive? And so the strategy is to ladder on top in such a way. We haven't always done this perfectly, so there's plenty of features that might be in a tier that we can debate, and that's fine. We should do that. But going forward, each of the teams has a pricing direction explanation on the direction page, and they're thinking of it in this way. So usage is important, but we wouldn't really want to move it around just for that reason. We would want to move it if we found something in there that appeals to either the individual or the director or the exec. I'll pause there. Any questions on that, Brad?
I guess sometimes it's debatable, right? It's not easy to find who the who cares, right? And maybe we don't even know sometimes in an MVC. And I've also seen great behavior around like, well, this MVC, we're going to put in core to broaden the usage. And then we've got these plans to add kind of, I don't know, toppings on top of the ice cream, right? If you will, for premium, we're going to save, this enhancement and this enhancement for premium and ultimate. So I think those are all great strategies. But I'm curious if there's if the product team is focused heavily on monthly active users and say, and the company's got a North Star metric of net AAR, are those congruent, or where's the tie between?
Yeah, so we're every group is focused on monthly active usage, and every group has a stat around total Gmail and paid Gmail. And so if you look at all the product performance indicator pages, you'll see that. And on the categories page, we've articulated which teams are focused more on driving paid Gmail and which teams are focused more on driving broad Gmail. As an example, compliance is 100% focused on paid, but others like incident management is more focused on broad Gmail. So oftentimes this has to do with the maturity of the area. If something's early, like incident management, we're going to be really focused on broad usage, much less so than trying to drive paid. Although there are a couple of exceptions to that. For example, requirements management is still very early, but it's clearly an ultimate kind of thing. So there are exceptions to the rule, but generally when we're getting started with something, you want to focus initially on driving broader adoption and creating things that are interesting for individual devs, and the ladder on top of that.
Great examples. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll also share a couple of more things, Brad. So we collect qualitative signals post NPS that we summarize. It's not an accurate, complete picture, but it gives us another signal of what drives upgrade or what areas or features or capabilities are driving upgrades. And then there is a direction to PM's page, which you can go through too. So it's, I think it would be a misunderstanding if you walked away with the impression that PMs are only looking to drive monthly active usage, paid or otherwise. It's not. We think about which categories need to be driving paid and which need to be driving free.
Yeah.
And then we drive it that way.
I appreciate that. Thank you. No, I wasn't trying to imply that it's only monthly active, but I know we see a lot of XMAU, right? And just trying to understand how does that impact revenue.
Yeah, that's right. And by the way, the CMAU number is always going to look much bigger, but the CMAU number is an addition of all stage MAUs, so it's duplicative. So just keep that in mind. So if one user uses 3 stages, they will count as 3 in CMAU.
Thank you.
That's more of a number for Anoop and I, sort of cross product number, because you want to drive even the big stages higher, like create. So that's this. So if create adds another user at increments, and then you also want to focus on breadth and more stages per user, and so it captures both sides of that.
I'll just add, I had added to D454 that in utilization, we're still in problem validation of this, but this came to us from the enterprise team, from Mike Pyle and team, that customers are looking for what features are being used by user. And so we're trying to figure out what's the right representation of that. We have some ideas for kind of MVCing, kind of quantitative, how many users are using a particular feature. But this is a little bit long way off, but just wanted to link the epic there in case others wanted to contribute to that conversation.
I have a quick note. So within growth team, since a lot of our focus is conversion rate, revenue, so we definitely begin to look at which features used in trial or used by new users that seem to correlate with higher conversion rate. And we have plans to test, make those features more visible in trial, introduce them to new users. That is kind of part of the bigger picture, is how we link feature with revenue.
On a similar topic, would you identify features in lower tiers that maybe have high utilization that would be good for strategic direction to add maybe, or they have high usage in low tiers, but then it gives us a great opportunity to add more features in higher tiers of that same category or same stage, right? So if we see great utilization in a particular core feature, then saying, oh, well, this might be a great target for a premium and an ultimate feature in that. And it sort of prompted, and I put it in my question around like the features by group by tier page that was just released. And we can see that it's kind of heavily weighted one way or another. A stage is generally like heavy on ultimate or heavy on core, or sometimes heavy on premium, and rarely balanced across all three tiers.
I'm curious to hear Scott's thought on that. Within growth, a lot of what we do is more kind of look at what features we have and how we can maximize the usage of those. An example, for example, we have secure features mostly in Ultimate, but we do have a core kind of free secure feature in Free, which is the SAS scanner. So a lot of what we do is to expose this SAS scanner feature for free, because not a lot of free users are aware of them, are using them. So when we expose those features to them in free, they begin to use SAS, they begin to use secure, and we can, on top of that, build an app tier path to introduce the better scanners or more complete secure features, kind of using that as an app tier path. But Scott, Anoop, anything you want to add there?
I can answer that question. So I think the answer to that is yes, we do that with the guardrail that we still want to follow buyer-based persona. Because yes, there are capabilities today in our free tier that developers need to do their jobs, which we could put into an up tier, and it might from a perception point of view drive some up tiering, but it's a very slippery slope, because what you're doing is you're removing your promise to the entire customer base on how you're doing pricing decisions. You will be able to up tier your existing install base, but you will lose trust with the 99% of the market in the future about how GitLab is living up to its stewardship promises. So we do it, but we do it in a thoughtful manner. So for example, in incident management, if you go to the monitor page, you will see there is an early piece of this is what we're going to do in free, then this is what we're going to do in premium, and then this is what we're going to do in ultimate. So there is, if you go to each stages page, they have plans to add capabilities in up tier, but after a basic set is completed for that person.
Yeah, just to be clear, I meant the latter of what you were saying. I didn't mean to move existing features. I meant build on top of highly used lower tier features to leverage the usage of those lower features, and add the premium version of that, the director, and then the ultimate, the C-level version of those particular features. And by the way, that automatic inclusion of SAS in new projects, very cool. And and the metrics were great around that. So whoever had that idea was very cool. I like that.
Awesome. Thank you. This is a great discussion. John, you have a point there, which is also very important.
Yeah, so we were talking about of course, the really great research and analysis was done for features used in trial. I just wanted to put a reminder out there that the enablement features are not included in that analysis because of the way they're tracked. So at least in the current run of that, it may not be the complete picture of what features are really used in trial.
Yep. Thanks, John. You also have a point under H as well.
Yeah, drilling back up to some of the comments that were made around Gmail and ARR. I'd actually created an issue that may be helpful to start really kind of capturing the thoughts that there is a way to maybe track and quantify the connection between Gmail or paid Gmail and ARR. It's not complete, but would appreciate any thoughts you may have on it. That was something you kind of brought up, Brad.
Thanks, I'll check it out.
Thanks, Brad. If that's it for this conversation, appreciate the question. We can move on to Hans as well.
Yeah, just a bit of context. I had a call with a customer this morning. There's an ultimate business case, but CI/CD, it's all in the premium tier. And basically, I was kind of wondering, are there plans for quote unquote new advanced CI/CD features to try and have that lever to get those other departments or teams onto discussions and not have it focus so heavily on security, which seems to be the case in most of my ultimate discussions.
I added in a link to all the direction pages so you can see, verify and release, for example. You can see what they're thinking. I'm not aware of sort of near-term focus for either of those groups on Ultimate, but Anoop or somebody from those groups can weigh in. I think they're. Go ahead, Anoop.
I can answer the question. Like in principle, yes, but in reality, for the near term, the team's focused on a lot of improving what we already have and stabilizing and improving it. There is a huge backlog of S1 and S2 issues and technical debt. So I don't expect anything in at least the next couple of quarters there. That would be on Ultimate.
Okay, thank you.
Brad, I think you also had a comment here as well.
Yeah, for Hans, check out compliance pipelines. It's basically CI/CD for security. If I try to dumb it down, InfoSec team's very interested in making sure that we are running what we say we're going to run. So it's kind of a little bit of a spin on CI if your customer's already doing that and trying to talk about Ultimate. It doesn't even have to run the AppSec pieces.
Cool, will do. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks. Mike, you have the next question.
Yeah, just regarding slide 17, those pretty cool results to see. And I was just curious, was this measured just over this last quarter, and what the sample size was, those customers?
Hila, that one's for you. Slide 17.
Yes. So just kind of a quick recap. So slide 17 is to answer a question, what features our free users are upgrade for into premium. So we did some analysis. I think one hypothesis is release control related features, whether it's approval rules or it's merge request dependencies. It is a big reason according to our post-purchase survey. So we want to use quantitative data to prove that. And we look at basically a group of free users, they upgrade to premium on their own, like without too much sales involvement, because our assumption is that if sales is involved, our sales will guide them. So we want to know organically what they're there for after upgrade. And the results is like merge approval and protected environment are the kind of two of the top features they immediately begin to use quickly after upgrade to premium on their own. So that basically help validate this kind of this assumption. And we look at, if you look at the chart, it's like over almost past years of data, and that's consistently two of the top features they use. So now the plan is how to promote those to the free users. Sounds like it's something valuable. Maybe some may not know. Once they know, they will be interested.
Awesome. That's super helpful. So it was, I guess, limited in scope to the release related features to prove out what you were seeing in the post-purchase survey.
We want to do more of similar analysis to really help us get a good picture. But we start from here, and also there's one of the restrictions. Some features are not tracked, some features are tracked. So we start from those we have tracking, and we have a high kind of likelihood that's important to users to upgrade.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Carolyn, you have a point as well.
Yeah, just wanted to make sure you were able to click through to the issue where this came from. The dashboard is linked there. And to echo what Hilo said, this is the kind of feature level analysis that we're looking to dig into more. Part of the exploration here, which was done by Neil, was actually making sure that we had all of the necessary data regularly available in Snowflake. So if there are particular things that you're interested in, please flag them for the product analysis team. We can help scope kind of the viability and data availability and loop in the data team if we need to, just to even get some of these sorts of analyses unblocked.
Awesome, thanks.
Thanks. That's all of our questions for today. With that, we can wrap up and about 3 minutes early. So thanks everyone for all the questions. Appreciate it. And we'll see